Hello everyone, I am Dr. P.S.V.Shanmukhi, Associate Professor, Department of Physics, Aditya University. Now I am going to explain about the band theory of solids. At the end of this lecture, student will able to understand the formation of energy bands in solids, and he can also understand the classification of solids into conductors, semiconductors and insulators. So anyhow, coming to the formation of energy bands in solids, actually in case of one isolated atom, we can write the electronic configuration as 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6 like that. So in case of an isolated atom, but actually let us imagine a solid. This is a solid containing n number of atoms like this. N number of atoms are there. Therefore, these n number of atoms will contain n 1s2 levels, n 2s2 levels, n 2p6 levels and 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, something like that. So anyhow, all these energy levels, because of the interaction, when the interatomic distance is reduced, suppose when two atoms are separated by infinite distance, r is equal to infinity, there would be no interaction at all. Whenever these atoms are brought very much closer and closer, interaction starts. Because of the interaction, what happens? All the electrons having same energy range, they form energy bands. Means when the interatomic distance is reduced, this is the direction of interatomic distance, decreasing direction. Whenever, so the atoms are brought closer and closer, this kind of 1s2, how many will be there? N 1s2 levels will be there, n 2s2 levels will be there. In that way, all the same kind of electrons, they form energy bands. So they form different energy bands like this. Now observe, say different energy bands are formed. This is say first energy band, second energy band, third energy band like this. This is 1s band, 2s band, 2p band, 3s band, something like that. Between any two energy bands, there exists some energy gap, forbidden band. So in that way, several energy bands are formed. But actually, the uppermost filled energy band, suppose it is filled with valence electrons, say, it is said to be the valence band. So above that one, the unfilled band is there, say, that is said to be conduction band. Only the uppermost three energy bands, means the conduction band and the valence band, in between these two, the forbidden band is called energy gap easy. What about the remaining energy bands? They form the base of the lattice. The uppermost three energy bands are significant. The uppermost filled energy band, it is filled with valence electrons, say, that is called valence band. Above the valence band, there is an unfilled energy band, it is called conduction band. Why? Because if the electrons are transferred to that one, they will produce the electrical conduction. Between conduction band and valence band, there is some forbidden band. That forbidden band is called energy gap there. So in this way, energy bands are formed in the solid. In case of one isolated atom, because means the individual electrons, they form as per the electronic configuration, we can arrange the electrons among various energy levels like 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 like that. But whereas in case of a solid, as the interatomic distance is reduced very much, these electrons having same range, they form energy bands. So that's why several energy bands are formed. Lower energy bands are insignificant. The upper energy bands, only the three, they are valence band, conduction band and forbidden band. Only these three are significant. So in this way, the energy bands are formed. Actually, based on the energy gap, actually there are three energy bands we are considering. This is the conduction band and the lower one is the valence band. In between these two, there is some gap called energy gap Eg. Based on this energy gap only, the solids are classified into three categories as conductors, semiconductors and insulators. Observing this one, suppose in case of conductor, even at T is equal to 0 degree Kelvin, there is no energy gap Eg is equal to 0. Conduction band overlaps with the valence band. That kind of material is said to be a conductor. So even at T is equal to 0K, electrons are easily transferred to the conduction band. As a result, whenever it is connected to the external circuit, it conducts the electricity. Anyhow, coming to the semiconductors, suppose observe the insulator's case. If the energy gap Eg, it is greater than or equal to 3 electron volts, then material is said to be an insulator. The energy gap between conduction band and valency band, it is more than 3 electron volts, that is said to be an insulator. Here, even high thermal energy cannot promote the electrons to the conduction band. That's why if this kind of material is connected in the external circuit, this is connected to a battery like this, as there are no free electrons in this one, it cannot conduct the electricity. That's why it is said to be an insulator. Now, coming to the semiconductors case, the electrical conductivity of semiconductors lies in between the conductivity of conductors and insulators. The electrical conductivity or resistivity, it is lying in between the values of conductors and insulators. Here the energy gap, it is less than 3 electron volts. So, these materials, for example, silicon and germanium, they are the examples of semiconductors. For silicon, it is 1.1 electron volts, for germanium 0.72 electron volts, the energy gap. Only this much energy is enough to promote the electrons to the conduction band. That means even little bit thermal energy is enough to promote the electrons to the conduction band. As a result, even at room temperature, there exists some free electrons and holes in the semiconductor. When this is connected to a battery, it will conduct the electricity. That's why these materials are said to be semiconductors. So, based on the energy gap, materials or solids are classified into 3 categories as conductors, semiconductors and insulators. If the energy gap is equal to 0, such kind of materials or solids are said to be conductors. If the energy gap is less than 3 electron volts, then it is said to be a semiconductor. If the energy gap is more than 3 electron volts, then it is said to be an insulator. In that way, materials or solids are classified into 3 categories based on the energy gap. This energy gap or the energy bands are explained based on the formation of energy bands in solids. So, coming to the summary of this one, in this article, what we have discussed is how the energy bands are formed in the solids. When the atoms are very much far distance, there is no interaction. Whenever they are brought very much closer, because of the interaction, energy bands are formed. And only the uppermost 3 energy bands are significant. Lower energy bands are insignificant. In the upper energy bands, between conduction band and valency band, that forbidden band is called energy gap. Now, based on the energy gap, materials or solids are classified into 3 categories as conductors, semiconductors and insulators. That what we have seen in this one. Thank you very much.